what if I told you that when you're driving for food delivery, gas is not your only expense? Now, it's important to know what your actual expenses are, and comparing that to the federal IRS tax write-off deduction for mileage. Now, vehicle expenses has four components. One, of course, is fuel, which is the one that everybody thinks of. But then you've also got depreciation, vehicle depreciation, how much the value of your vehicle goes down per year. Obviously, with this one, if you are driving a fully paid off vehicle, this one isn't as important. Now, then the third one is the actual vehicle payments, if you have any. Again, may not apply if you're driving a fully paid off vehicle. And then finally, you've got what's called deferred maintenance for the last one. Deferred maintenance, of course, are things that you don't pay for on a daily basis or even weekly basis, but these are things like tire rotations, oil changes, tire replacements, things like that, how much you pay per year on that front. So in the description below is going to be a link to an EPA calculator for the mileage component, but you do need to do the math, figure out how much you're paying per month on your car payment, if any, insurance as well, and you will need to divide all of that out. So the calculator in the link is for the fuel component. Then you'll need to create your own for the car payment, insurance, and deferred maintenance part. So take for your deferred maintenance, obviously you want to take your oil changes, how often those happen. You also want to take, and you want to divide all that by miles per year, and then divide that by, so divide it by your miles driven annually, and then you will get the per mile rate of those particular expenses. Add all four up together, and you're going to get your expenses overall per mile. Now, my expenses, given that I drive a 2018 Kia Sorento, are on the higher side. Mine are 72 cents per mile, which is important to recognize because the IRS calculation for year 2026 is going to be 72 cents per mile. So I come out even on that particular front. So all of my miles, my miles and expenses will add up to the point where I technically incur a loss on driving per year. And the reason being that being in a semi-rural market, this is very important to distinguish. We have to take our miles out of town to make the delivery, and then we gotta also drive back empty. So we drive with nothing. We come back. I drive back to Forest Lake to get more trips because it's the only way to do it. You can't get a trip from some farmhouse in the middle, halfway to Wisconsin, and get paid that way. You're not going to get paid for those miles. But those are expense miles that I'm expending outside of the actual delivery itself. So I'm actually underwater. According to my TurboTax professional tax calculator, when I file every year, I'm usually underwater about $2,000. So this counts against things like W-2 income. It's an offset. It's a loss leader. So in my case, it still works to my favor because it reduces how much taxes I pay on the rest of my income. Now, if you do this full time, you don't have that you do not have that ability. Right now, of course, after having been unfairly terminated from a previous job, this is an offset against the taxability of my unemployment payments. So you should have. This benefits you the most if you have another source of income. That if driving delivery is not your only source of income. If it is your only source of income, you're kind of behind the eight ball on this one. But you should know your numbers. This is important when it comes to determining what kind of trips to accept. I don't want trips that are going to cost me 3 miles for every dollar that I get paid by the apps. In my case, 2 miles for every dollar I'm paid for is typical, unless I get a really good offer and I'm getting paid $2 per mile going out, then I'm actually making a profit overall, because then I'm getting paid overall, including the return mileage, $1 per mile. Which means that I'm making more than my expenses of 72 cents per mile, and also more than the IRS taxable rate of 72 cents per mile. However, these trips are rare. But knowing that I really should be trying to earn, in order to make an overall profit, I have to make at least $1.44 per mile on a trip. And I have to keep this number in mind every time an offer comes in. This is what is important in this, because you don't want to be suddenly having expenditures on tire replacements, for example, that you're not expecting. But it's an expense, and it's a mandatory expense. You can't go without it in order to be able to drive a vehicle. So you want to calculate your expenses per mile for based on the 4 categories of gas, deferred maintenance, auto payments, and insurance. So that's it for today, guys. Enjoy your Saturday. I'll be hitting the road here shortly. Look for the link in the description of the EPA's mileage calculator for the gas component. And you can use a similar formula, but you're going to be entering different amounts for the the thing about the nice thing about this calculator is that you can enter the gas price that you're paying right now, which in my case is $3.99 per gallon. You should run this on a regular basis, because of course gas prices wildly fluctuate, as you all know. So this is an exercise that you should go through every few months or so, just to see where it's taking you. Because, let's say gas prices go back down to $2 per gallon, then this works in your favor as far as your overall actual expenditures is concerned. You may actually be getting more of a tax break than you're spending. But in my case right now, it's a wash. But because of the miles returned empty, I do show a loss. But that's it for now. Know your numbers, guys. Get them calculated. Go in my description, pull up the link for the EPA's gas mileage calculator. It will also pull. It can also pull in your vehicle make and model, and tell you. And it also knows what your mileage is per gallon. So in my case, 24 miles per gallon on a 2018 Kia Sorento. It automatically calculates that for you. So that's the nice part about this. So I will leave it at that. I will talk to you folks tomorrow, and as always, peace out, homies.